What if the person you thought was your greatest teacher was, in fact, a mirror reflecting your most neglected self? And what if, by understanding this, you could finally break a cycle that has held you captive for years? We often enter relationships with a hidden script, one written not by our conscious minds, but by the unmet needs of our inner world. The dynamic between a deeply empathetic person and a self-focused individual is one of the most powerful examples of this. This isn't a story of a villain and a victim, but of two unconscious actors playing out a painful, ancient dance. The empath, in their endless giving, is not just showing compassion. They are, in a quieter, more desperate act, abandoning themselves. They pour energy into another, believing that their worth is measured by this capacity to absorb pain and provide solace. The self-focused person, in their relentless taking, is not merely being cruel. They are revealing the raw desperation of a spirit that never received the foundational nourishment of being truly seen. Their hunger is a void that no external validation can ever hope to fill. The cycle persists through a shared, unspoken wound. These two are bound not by fate, but by complementary fractures in their psychic foundation. One refuses to fill their own cup. The other believes only an external cup can quench their thirst. It is a perfect, painful lock and key. But what happens when the empath begins to awaken? The first stage of awakening is a tremor in the reality you've always known. It begins with a simple, yet terrifying question. What if the love I've been pouring out was never truly received? This question is the key that starts to loosen the chains. You start to see that the beast you were feeding was not a soul, but a profound absence. And in that recognition, you're forced to confront a parallel emptiness within yourself. This is the critical turning point. To see the other's emptiness is to glimpse your own. The identity you've built, the healer, the giver, the saint of understanding, begins to crumble. If you're not the one who saves others, then who are you? The collapse of this role feels like a psychic death, and in a very real way, it is. Your greatest role was a cage you built yourself. This death, however, is a necessary descent. Like the mythic heroes who journeyed into the underworld, you must now venture not into the other's chaos, but into your own. You must face the parts of you that you have silenced, your own hunger, your own justified anger, the inner child who whispers, "What about me?" This is not a gentle process. It is a confrontation with the ultimate truth. The cycle was sustained not only by their taking, but by your own collusion in refusing to receive. The unconscious is a relentless architect of wholeness, and it will recreate this pattern until you finally learn to look within. The dissolution of the bond is rarely a dramatic explosion. More often, it is a quiet, profound exhaustion. The well of compulsive giving simply runs dry. The old dramas no longer hold the same magnetic pull. In this state of emptiness, a new seed begins to stir, the faint, unfamiliar whisper of self-worth. It suggests that perhaps you, too, are deserving of the very nourishment you've been offering so freely to others. This is where the archetype truly shifts. The empath ceases to be the redeemer of others and becomes the guardian of their own inner world. In practical life, this manifests as boundaries. It shows up as a newfound comfort with silence, and a conscious withdrawal from the exhausting theater of sacrifice. The self-focused individual, suddenly deprived of their primary source of supply, may react with rage, manipulation, or disappearance. But for the first time, the empath feels a fragile but real sense of autonomy. They are no longer orbiting a black sun. This is the true end of the cycle. It is not the defeat of the other person, but the dissolution of the unconscious agreement that bound you together. It is the profound realization that both figures were in essence internal. The self-focused person becomes a symbol, a necessary teacher whose harsh lessons forced you to turn inward and finally claim the self you had abandoned. From this place of awakening, compassion transforms. It is no longer a compulsive drain on your soul, but a clear-eyed understanding. You see that the other is also a prisoner of a collective wound, their vanity and cruelty merely the masks worn in a deep, archetypal drama. Having stepped out of the cycle, you understand it was never entirely about them. It was always about the unresolved dialogue between your own soul and its shadow. What lies beyond the cycle is a strange and luminous peace. It is the hard-won serenity of one who has descended into their own depths and returned with wisdom. Your life begins to unfold in new ways. Creativity blossoms. Relationships are now built on reciprocity. Solitude becomes a sanctuary, not a punishment. You learn that love is not a finite resource to be carefully rationed, but an infinite wellspring when it is first rooted securely within the self. This journey of individuation is the conscious embrace of both your light and your darkness. The empath who once feared the loss of love discovers a deeper truth, that love cannot be lost when it is firmly rooted within. What was once a compulsive sacrifice becomes a conscious choice. What was once a blind entanglement becomes a lucid and empowered detachment. The wheel stops turning. The old myth dissolves. And in the quiet that follows, you might hear, perhaps for the very first time, the authentic voice of your own being. Now, you are ready to live not as one half of a broken dynamic, but as a whole. If this path resonates with you, do not let these ideas remain as mere concepts. The cycle ends not with anger, but with clear sight. Begin today. Choose one single act of self-love that you have previously denied yourself. Protect your energy. Nourish your own spirit. Listen to that quiet voice within. And if you found value in understanding this profound dynamic, please support this channel by liking this video and following Winds of Thought for more journeys into understanding the self.